Hey, well, hey, it's September, Ryan, and we started our new little series called the Root Canal Records Review Roundup. So I think it's time we get into it because we got Shania Twain to talk about, and we got the ghost inside. This is the Root Canal Records Review Roundup. Woo! And that's right, we're back. Ryan is doing some sick ass hammer-ons on the high end of his bass. Yo, Ryan, what note is that? What are you on?
It's the dirty note.
Are you above the
Yeah.
fret? Are you above the fret? Or are you on the first fret? What are we doing? Are you
First
bending?
fret.
Oh, okay. You're not.
100.
So you're not bending above.
No.
You're
First
not.
fret.
You're not doing that dirty shit. All right. Well, speaking of dirty shit, we're
Second fret. Third fret. Second fret. First fret.
just repeat nonstop.
Zeros.
At,
Zeros. Oh, zeros. Uh. Uh. Okay, I'm done.
And this makes for great podcast content for all the listeners at home. But speaking of great podcast content, we're back here for another week of our music fucking section where we talk about everything from live music, set reviews, new albums, new singles, shows that we just saw, and just the shit that kind of brought us all together as friends. I know we talk about like everything kind of did bring us together as friends, but music is like the cornerstone of it all. But speaking about some spicy music topics, Ryan, this is one of the topics you submitted a couple weeks ago, and I think it's time we bring it to light. Shania Twain. Are we talking about her
My
discography?
my girl, the whole thing, the whole discography, specifically the two albums she released in like it was the late '90s and then early 2000s. I forget the name of the first one, but the second one was Up. They are masterpieces, hit after hit, single after single. If you're not into Shania Twain, we gotta talk because there's a problem here. And
Okay.
I feel like a woman.
What album is that off
Uh,
of?
that's the one I can't remember right. It
Uh,
was
or
oh,
General
Come On
Idea.
Over.
Come on
Was the
over.
album with Man I Feel Like a Woman. Love Gets Me Every Time. From This Moment on. Oh my God.
Oh,
You're still the one. Oh, still
I do
the
know that
one.
song.
Da-da.
Okay.
Like, come on.
Yeah,
What a hit.
she's got some like,
That don't impress me much.
dude. I remember listening to
That
that in school, and like people would learn like dance it like that. Don't impress me, like get that whole
so good.
yeah.
You know why this album and Up, the one after, are so good? She was married to I forget the guy's name. Mutt Lang. Mutt Lang.
That's
Yeah.
a fake name, but anyway, go on.
No. He was the
No.
producer for all like the great 70s and 80s rock bands like AC/DC, Def Leppard, did all that stuff. And he produced her record. So they have like this like punch to them. Like
That's
this
cool.
like this grit that like each section just hits so hard, and that it's brilliant. I had so Up came out in 2002. I had the CD, JVC CD player, and that was like my first celebrity crush. It was like
Was
how
it
old
actually?
9 years old, 9 years old, I think. Was into it
Yeah.
as a young boy.
But yeah, that was like the first thing where it's like these kids are like, this is the new fucking hotness. Like Shania Twain's out. I feel like that was like one of my first exposures to like, I don't know, like one suggestive country music, but also two like, just kind of like not country music in general because I definitely heard like older country growing up a bit with like my mom and dad a little, big Johnny Cash fan stuff like that. But this
Oh,
was
yeah.
like my first exposure to like pop country at a young age, and every fucking thing Shania Twain put out was a banger.
It's like when I would listen to her like, on my CD player or whatever when I was a kid, like I just liked the music. I didn't analyze music yet. I just listened. And what sparked this whole renaissance of Shania for me. So I recently watched her documentary on Netflix that she came out with, and it sparked this whole Shania renaissance for
The
and
Shania Renaissance.
Shania renaissance. And so I mean, since I stopped listening to CDs in 2008, 7, whenever, I hadn't heard her aside from like the radio.
Yeah.
I went back and was listening to all this music I used to listen to as a kid, reanalyzing it as an adult, and I'm like, damn, like this slaps way harder than I even remember.
Would you
Just
call? Sorry, not to interrupt you.
it, more than anything, it's just brilliantly produced music.
That's kind of what I wanted to like touch on because you're like going that way, you know, because like here at Kicking Teeth, we really like to fuck with a lot of different genres, and that's like because we're really fucking hip and pretentious. It's just like that we get bored really easily. Again, the ADHD, that's like been the theme of the episode. But like, and that so like with that, I don't want to like pigeonhole anybody or like put anybody in a category. But now that you've kind of like gone through the Renaissance, like between the time from when you were a kid, because when I was a kid, I was like, this is real country, which I mean, it might not be like the most like soul crushing, but also it's like pop country is real country. Even if you don't like it, it still is like, you know, it's catchy, it's successful, people love pop country. There still is like
Yeah.
a bit of the original root. It might not be folky. But after your Renaissance, like the Shania Twain Renaissance, now with like kind of like, you know, your more experienced ears, would you say Shania, the at least, I guess, yeah, most of her discography falls more pop or more country?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not like first album that she came out with. I guess she didn't even write a lot of it, like assigned, and then there were people writing songs for them. Then once she got working with her to be husband right together, it definitely wasn't country.
Yeah.
It had country elements. It had lap steel in it. Give it a twang. It was pop. It was rock and roll.
Ooh, I like that you add like that was a very definitive. Just like it was not only pop, it's fucking rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she had the one of the most quintessential rock producers from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I mean that
It's gonna
doesn't
be
hurt.
rock and roll.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking of rock and roll, you got that couple of amps and guitars in the background. Anyway, we'll get to that later. That's not for anything on purpose. We're not gonna get into that yet. But all right, right.
But I did go from listening to Shania, and then I immediately went to listen to the Devil Wears Prada. So that kind of shows the audience how our music tastes go over here at Kicking Teeth.
Yeah, don't. You're never safe. That's just understand. You know, we don't feel safe about our own
I
interests.
confused the heck out of my wife.
Dude.
Wait, what are we listening to?
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, Laura is like, Laura definitely has better music taste than me in general. So like, it's okay. I'm forgiven a lot in this house, and that means a lot. But speaking of forgiveness, Ryan, if you're, you know, and Shania might have to forgive you herself after this because this is a very cruel and crucial thing you have to say because it's always hard when you have to narrow it down. But Ryan, favorite Shania Twain album and song, go.
I have to say Up just because I listened to that the most as a kid. So that like in most a favorite song off that album. Looking at it right now, I'm cheating.
Can you say the album one more time? I think you dropped out for a second.
Oh, it's called Up.
Oh, okay.
UP exclamation point.
Like the
And there's like three versions that they recorded: an international version, a standard pop version, and then the country version. And they all sound a little. They're produced differently.
like the
Cool.
like the Disney movie with a really happy intro, right?
Right, right.
Okay, I know.
I'm gonna get you good is a pretty good song. I really like how instruments drop out in the chorus.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool effect. I've always been pretty turned on by that.
Yeah.
Been turned on by audio.
It's true. Hey, that's why you're the musical fucking producer of this show, man.
Audiophile.
Oh god, I hate when people call themselves audiophiles. I'm like, I'm gonna choke you with the.
Hate it.
You're gonna die by a fucking like, I don't know, a fucking rutabaga. You're gonna have all
Rutabaga.
Yeah.
Delicious.
in a video game, of course. But yeah. I really do feel like maybe fucking Shania, like the first time I heard that don't impress me much. I'm like, well, you know what, Dad, my bisexual awakening's happening in 6th grade. Anyway,
That don't impress me.
yeah. So all right, so Up it is. Cool. Well, hey, we've talked about a little bit of Shania, and now we're gonna get to the next part of Root Canal Records. I'll make this pretty quick if I can. I've kind of like been trying to do some contrast stuff, so I want to do kind of two things in different areas. So the first is the Ghost Inside live album after their first return, after the bus accident, after everything like that. I believe it's called Rise from the Ashes. It's available on Spotify, and it's their live set. I can't remember. I think it's in like LA or California. There's a DVD or like a video. But I listened to that recently. And the Ghost Inside in college specifically, but like through a lot of like times in my life were definitely inspirational. I mean, their music is like hard hitting as shit. It's always been a lot of like self encouragement and just like powerful. The first time you hear Avalanche, like, oh my god, you know.
Dude.
Right, it just like motivates you to keep fighting, like keep going on. I know it sounds like really edgy and stupid, but like really that.
Yeah, and it means even more after their whole act. Like,
Well, so that's why this. And Ryan, like, if you have the time and anybody at home, even if you don't like heavy music, take a couple like an hour to listen to this. Seeing like, and they even have like bits like he's doing the speeches, like Jonathan or whatever is doing the speeches on stage, and they're talking about like we're returning after all this. This is for like the people that we lost during this. It is like just the most welcoming return I've ever heard, and there's no band that fucking deserves it more after what they've been through. Like it is the production value. It's not the Ghost Inside is back after the accident. Is the Ghost Inside is fucking back. Like the drums, incredible. The fucking production, the thickness of the guitars, the bass, the vocals, and then they have the perfect audio mix with the crowd where like you see them coming back for the first time and the crowd is like, my family is fucking home. Like it is just like these heroes are fucking back. So one, shout out to the Ghost Inside, but two,
who was it the drummer who lost a leg?
Yeah, it's my fault for not knowing his name. We can tag it in the comments. Everybody knows his name. Tag it. I know his Instagram handle's like ill grip. He's been posting a ton of videos of him like playing backstage now that he's got it back, and he always leaves the prosthetic leg just on the side because I think him and his dad made a contraption where he can use his knee, essentially.
Right.
But no, really, just like that is the first album. Ghost Inside's like formative band for me, huge, like late stage in life for sure, especially with hardcore. But just like one, if you're in like just want to feel wholesome and feel like just not pride, but like just happiness for a band that like deserves it more than a lot of bands and have worked so hard to come back. It is so cool to see them with the crowd.
They're a very cool band.
So to contrast that with heavy music and kind of like darker things, Reading Lee's just happened, and there were a bunch of bands that played, but a new song that I've been fucking with a bunch for the past week is Happiness by the 1975. They've put out a dance edit and a regular edit. I prefer the dance edit because it's so funky, but Ryan, you gotta listen to this shit. It's right up your alley. The production
I haven't heard it yet, but I love the 1975.
It's very much, it feels like, first of all, it sounds like, what was I listening to? Oh, it sounds like their song, The Sound. Like, I was listening to it, and I think the key is the same. Like, it's got the same, like, gyrating kind of motion of flow throat, And I think you can even fit the lyrics and the key into the song. But it's much more, like, disco-y. Like, it's not the same song. Happiness is much more disco-y and, like, kind of groovy.
Right.
So yeah, that's just kind of like what I've been like vibing to for the past kind of like week or two. The Ghost Inside has been very encouraging, and Happiness has just been like, and like the 1975 has been like giving me that just like general like, oh man, it's time to fucking groove and move my hips and have a fucking good time, like not feel bad. So it's yeah, I guess that's
They're always good for that, for like synth pop groove vibe. Like if you put like good headphones on and you put on the 1975, like you're in it, like you're fully immersed.
Dude, I wanted to buy shows for that tickets for that MSG show that is coming up for the next one because I know it's gonna be historic, but it's hard to reach every show in this economy. But yeah,
for real though.
Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave Root Canal Records off for this week. We talked about Shania, we talked about Ghost Inside, and also the 1975. Check it out next week. We'll have another episode of Root Canal Records. You can check it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and where else you ever find Kicking Teeth. But yeah, give us a rate. Give us a review on Apple and Spotify. It helps us a fucking ton. It helps us keep doing this and really just helps us keep working and make better content on a better podcast anyway. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.